Hey everyone, just dealing with the tech stuff there. I don't think Instagram's going to work, so that's okay. We're just going to do Facebook and YouTube. Hi, this is Melissa. Welcome on this Tuesday afternoon. Hope you are doing well. And today we are talking about how to listen to your psychic hunches and act on them. So if you have ever experienced a hunch, a inner voice, pictures, feelings that you feel you're picking up, then this presentation today is for you. I see some people hopping on live. So if you are here live, please let me know in the comments that you can see me and hear me okay. That would be a great start. I am using a new software, so I just also want to make sure that's working okay. And lovely to connect with you guys. So, oh, hey Julie, nice to see you. How you doing? So, oh, hey Rizal. Oh, some familiar faces here, some past clients. Lovely. Love you guys. Two people that came to my retreat. All right, so today we're talking about your psychic experiences and hunches. And this is something that everybody experiences to a certain extent, and yet I feel like we kind of want to keep it a secret. We're worried that somebody's going to think I'm crazy. I need to go to the loony bin. I remember when I first started out doing this work back in my 20s, I'm in my 40s now. Um, I just kept having these people come up to me. I was doing a lot of like local workshops at that time. I would have people come up to me at the end and say, "Hey, Melissa, I want to tell you something. I've never told anybody this before." And then they would share about an experience, a psychic experience that they'd had. So maybe they saw their grandmother visit them at the end of their bed. Maybe they saw energy, etc., etc. And I started thinking to myself, wow, if everybody was talking about this openly, we would start to realize that it is very normal, right? And yet we're afraid sometimes. Now I know many of you have worked on that and you're sort of come out of the spiritual closet, so to speak. And I think really what helps with that is having a community of people around you who you can share these things with. I know Julie and Rizal will relate to that because they've been part of my groups, and that is a really amazing healing in and of itself. So for those of you that are here, and if you're watching the replay, post later because I'll come back and look at the comments. What has been sort of a psychic or mystical experience that you've had recently? I would love to know in the comments. And as you share, you actually help others. So I get the shyness. I can be shy sometimes, but please try not to be shy. Really share. What have been your psychic experiences? So one thing that as you're typing in, I'll share. Um, I have been recovering from an injury lately, and during these past few weeks, I have been noticing that I keep seeing flashes of light, of energy out of the corner of my eye. It's happened, I would say, like 9 or 10 times. And it has been a long time since I actually saw some kind of entity or ghost in this house. So this house I live in now is owned by my partner, and previous to me moving in here, I would see sometimes some ghosts, some energies. But actually, since I've moved in and been cleansing it a lot, I hadn't I haven't felt that around since I've moved in. And so the last few weeks, I'm seeing it again. So I can immediately go into my head and go, "Ooh, what does that mean? Am I doing something wrong?" Da, da, da. Or I can just notice that I'm having that psychic experience, right? And so I'm going to go deeper into this for your own experience, but we can be so quick to jump into our heads about, oh, what does it mean? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? Da, da, da. So, what we want to do is become more comfortable with being in our feeling nature, which is really what we're talking about when we're talking about our psychic ability and our intuition, etc. This is the power of you as a soul. You are energy. And yet, our society trains us to operate out of our intellectual mind, our thinking part. And so we get confused and we get conflicted and we start doubting and overanalyzing our intuitive experiences. And that's what actually starts blocking it. So the more that you can be open to just noticing what you experience rather than immediately analyzing it, judging it, thinking it's wrong, right, good, bad, whatever, the good, bad, the ugly, that is actually going to allow more and more experiences to come in. So energy is always there, but are we perceiving it? That's the key. I'm already diving in deeper than I had intended in my intro here. So let me pause for a second. And if anyone else hasn't said hi, please do so in the comments. I would love to connect with you. What are some of the psychic experiences that you've had? Or if you just want to say hi and let me know where you're calling in from today or tuning in from, I should say. Um, Whoops. Oh, Julie says your comment was too long. Sorry. I'm sure you've had some amazing psychic experiences, Julie. I know you have. So basically, as you guys are typing that in, right, you're not alone. um, yeah, that's a good example, actually. So Julie said, actually, just now, I'll put this up. I think I can show them. Yeah. So I flipped to Facebook and saw your live stream here. So have you guys ever had that where you just suddenly have a hunch to jump on Facebook like Julie just did, or to call a friend, or to look at something when really maybe you should be working or you're doing something else, but you just have this strong hunch. Let me just look at this right now. And all of a sudden you find exactly what you're looking for. So those are the little kind of experiences that we have in our day. But you can see, even with something as simple as that, like having a hunch to look at Facebook when maybe I'm at work and should be working. Even something like that, my intellect could come in and say, "Oh, no, 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 I can't do that right now." And immediately I've blocked that intuitive guidance that could be the answer to exactly what I've been looking for. It's often in those little things where the magic lies. So, what would it be like for you if you were able to always listen and trust and act on those little hunches that come in? I noticed a few weeks back that I was blocking myself a lot because I was trying to be very structured in the way that I was doing my work day, right? I'm self-employed, I have been for a long time. And so my boss is me. And sometimes I can be a little bit of a mean boss to myself, saying, no, 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 you should do this, you should do that. And so I noticed that tendency coming up and I said, okay, let me just flow with whatever I'm guided to do. Now, you might say, "Oh, well, that's just sort of being lazy and frivolous." I'm not doing that in a escaping kind of way. I'm doing it in a really aligned way. And since I've been following that, I have put some things in place in my business that I know I never would have if I had stayed more structured. I'm not going to go into all the details, but a new blog for my website, some really cool things that I would easily have just put on the back burner. So, what could that be for you in your life, whether it's business or career, or whether it's more in your personal life, right? Connecting more with friends when maybe you don't take enough time to do that. Really focusing more on your connection with your romantic partner and fostering that, or your connection with your kids. Your intuition guides you to be in alignment. And that's why it's really important to listen to it and trust it, because you as a soul have come in with a purpose for this lifetime. And your higher self, so to speak, for lack of a better word, knows how to get into alignment with that. So we also have our intellect, our organizing part, that wants to, keep things moving forward and constructive and organized. And there is a place for that, for sure. But because we're not comfortable with our intuition guiding the way, we think that's sort of silly and frivolous. Then we get into this will I, won't I kind of thing, right? So have you ever had the experience of, oh, yes, I'm going to do this. Oh, no, 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 that's not practical. Oh, yes, I'm going to do this. Oh, no, no, I can't afford it. And then you're sort of like, yeah, but I want to, but I can't. I want to, but I can't. That's getting you in this cycle of stuck, of indecision energy. And what's really happening when you do that is there's a conflict between your feelings and your intellect. My true feelings are guiding me to my alignment as a soul, my path of what I'm here to do, my path of growth, right? It doesn't always mean that things are perfect. Sorry. I can tell you that for sure. The last couple of weeks, what I've been going through. But it certainly is the path of growth and purpose and alignment. Yeah. So I see a couple comments. Trudy says, "Hi, Melissa. So glad to catch this live. Nice to see you, Trudy. Trudy, is it Trudy? Yes. And Katerina, I got a realization you will not work at this consultancy firm any longer. 1 week later, I was asked by my client to join their organization with the best offer ever. Since then, the market dropped." Amazing. That's so cool, Katerina. What a beautiful example of what it's like to be in alignment. You're just like, oh, it's time for me to leave this job. And that can be a scary thing, right? We're going to pay the bills. We need that security. And yet, because you had that hunch and you were open to it, when the next opportunity presented itself, you knew that that was for you. You didn't waste time with trying to figure it out or analyze it, or because you'd already had that hunch. So this is a beautiful example that Katerina is sharing with us of how our intuition brings us into alignment and success. Yeah, and the thing is, it's not always logical. It is not the logical path. If you're anything like me, you were raised with sort of this path in life that you're expected to follow. You graduate high school, and then you go to university, and then you get married, and then you have 2.5 kids. And so it's like this unwritten script that's always sort of knocking us on the head. Maybe you don't relate to that, but I know some of you probably do. And maybe your version of that is different depending on what culture you were raised in, right? But we can have that. And so it feels scary to step away. But when you're trusting your intuition, it's not going to be following that script that somebody else has written for you. It's going to be following your own unique path. And that's why I'm really passionate about you being in touch with your own psychic ability rather than going to somebody else who's a psychic for you. Because if you go to pay a psychic, you're just going to have to pay a psychic over and over and over again. But whereas, and you are experiencing doubt, maybe not always, right? There are definitely times when going to something like that is an alignment. But this is a tendency that I see because people doubt themselves. They think, well, the psychic will be able to tell me. But you're not going to be able to shift your doubt with a psychic reading unless you address your doubt. So you're kind of back at square one anyway. Most people that get psychic readings don't entirely trust what they receive. So why not learn to actually enhance your own psychic abilities? Because you are the leader of your life, nobody else. Okay, so now I'm going to actually look at the outline that I had for today. And I've been flowing with my intuition for 14 minutes. But if any of you have been getting some insights about anything I've shared, please, please, please share. So Trudy says, I have clear cognizance. Yes, and that one I would call prophecy, that same thing. That is one clear that's harder to detect. Yes, it is one clear where it's easy to miss it and think it comes from myself. Yeah, and it does come from you. It's coming from the psychic part of you. But yeah, that is very true. That the prophecy, the inner knowings, is the one that society doesn't really acknowledge even exists. How are you supposed to know things without even being told? But that is such a powerful gift to develop. And it's one for me that really guides me a lot on my path because Your prophetic gift can sense the future. And so I use my prophetic gift to make plans, yeah, for my life and for my business. So really, really helpful. Through my prophetic gift, I can sense if a project I'm working on is going to be successful or if it's not. Why waste your time on something that's not going to work? Okay. So what I would love us to do is to start to feel our energy today, okay? So you are energy. You are a soul with a body, not a body with a soul. And so you can experience that part. Really learn to expand the power of your energy force, your psychic energy force, by just merely starting to tune into it and be more aware of it. Okay. So, what I'd like you to do is just take the palm of your hands and rub them together. I'm shaking my my laptop as I do it. Sorry, guys. And then bring your hands a little ways apart and just start to notice what you can feel between your hands. Close your eyes for a minute. How does it feel? Slowly just expand your hands apart and notice if you can still feel it. Notice if it changes or if it gets weaker or stronger, and then bring your hands back in again and see how it feels now. Okay. So I'd love to know, please share in the comments, what can you feel between your hands when you do that? I think there's a bit of a delay with you guys commenting, so sorry about the silence. As you're sharing, I'll just share for what I felt was a heat, hands pulling together, right? And I could feel it sort of shifting and changing in strength as I moved in and out. So Trudy said warmth. Erin also said she felt warmth. Rizal, a cool tingling feeling. Yeah, so that's, you could feel warm, you could feel cool, and neither of them is right or wrong. It's just what you feel. Um, Julie said a magnetic push pull. Yeah, I could feel that as well. So we are energy beings, and so we are always sensing energy all around us. So there's many ways where you might experience energy. Erin also said it almost felt magnetic. Yeah. Rizal, I also notice that I can expand that energy as I move my hand further away. Ooh, cool. Yeah. So you could pick up energy as a feeling. So literally there we're feeling energy between our hands. Katerina said, yes, tingling energies. Yeah. You could, but you could also just sense energy in your life as you're feeling something. This feels good. This doesn't feel good. I feel some concern. I feel happy. I feel joyful. So we're picking up those kind of impressions. You could feel energy as an inner knowing, right? Like Trudy was saying, that prophetic part. You could just get a hunch. You could get a picture. So sometimes when I'm getting an intuitive message, I'll see something. Vision is my primary gift. I'm doing a class soon called Psychic Gifts Expansion, and so you're going to learn more and more about these gifts as you go into that. Um, but you have all four, but there's one that's your primary. So for me, that's vision. So often I'll get a hunch like, oh, I need to go talk to that person. Yeah. So this morning I had a concern come up and immediately I saw my friend April's face. So I sent April a text right away. And she texted back the solution that I was didn't know I needed, but that, that I needed. So this is the cool thing that we don't have to always have all the answers ourselves. We get guided to who can help, or a resource that can help, or our angels that could help. Um, and then you can also perceive energy as a thought, right? So that's more the clairaudient part where you just hear a word or you hear a phrase. I often get this when I'm working with clients. I will um, just get a keyword that helps that person discern what they are regrouping about and gives them more clarity. So we are always perceiving energy all the time, and it's just coming in through these different avenues, dreams as well, right? Last night, not last night, a few nights ago, I had a dream that I was ice skating and I was doing jumps and twirls and all this stuff. I've never been able to do that in my entire life. I was a gymnast, but I've never been able to do ice skating tricks. And in my physical situation right now, I can't even walk properly. So it was just so interesting that I woke up and I told my boyfriend right away. I was like, "Oh my God, I dreamed I was ice skating." And so it was like, what is the message in that? That as a soul, I am free and I have ability to do amazing things. That's how I took it. And it also just gave me this feeling of hope that, healing is on its way. Um, yeah. Oh, that's interesting, Julie. I'm going to show that. So I'm not easily scared, like when my kids are hiding behind a door to jump out and scare me. My son does that to me. I hate it. So I must be feeling that person's energy. Yeah. So if you perceive ahead of time that that person is there, you're not going to be scared. That's really interesting. Um, okay, so the key of all of this is that you are sensitive. Similar to what Julie's saying there, like, have you guys ever heard the phone ringing and you know exactly who it's going to be? Now, I know we have caller ID these days, but even if you haven't seen the caller ID, you just say, oh, I know that's my friend so and so. There she is, right? So we can sense people's energy because they're thinking about us when they're calling or texting. VM, sorry, I don't know your name. She said, he said, he or she, I just typed in the word dreams, was getting ready to hit send when you said it. LOL. So funny. Yeah. You reminded me you were thinking about dreams. And I said, oh, yeah, I forgot about dreams. Okay. So, how can we become more sensitive to these experiences? One, just by paying attention, right? And that's sort of been the theme of our conversation so far is, are you paying attention to these things that are happening? But the other thing too is that I think it's really valuable to develop it more, hone in on these skills simply because they've probably been neglected. How many of you had parents or teachers in your early years that taught you how to be more psychic and foster your gifts? Maybe some of you did. You're lucky. Most of us did not, right? So we need to now catch up on what probably we needed as a spiritual being when we were little and develop and hone in on our sensitivity. There's a lot of people out there that are not very sensitive. You can tune into it more. Now, some people get afraid of that because they think they're going to pick up things that is scary to them. So I just want to acknowledge that for a second, and I'm going to come back to that in a little bit, okay? But for now, let's talk about how can you develop your psychic gifts more. So the f- there's a couple really simple things that you can do. This technique that we just practiced is a way of just simply tuning in to remembering that you are energy. And you can just do that for yourself at any time. The other thing that you can do is actually um, deep breathing. I'm sure it's not the first time you've heard that, but are you doing it? Are you really getting into a state of slow, deep breaths, breathing from the diaphragm? If you ever see a young baby, asleep, you'll notice how they breathe. Their diaphragm goes up and down. It's pretty really I remember when my son was a baby, it's really interesting to watch. That is our natural breath. And just the way that our posture and different things, we get out of that habit and we have shortness of breath most of the time. So if you can actually just take some time, it doesn't have to be a long time, right? Just a few minutes to really take some deep breaths. Just close your eyes and tune in to your inner guidance, to spirit. You will be amazed at what effect that can have. So I could say, oh, let me give you all these complicated things, but why make it complicated when it actually doesn't have to be? What if it could be as simple as taking more time to just breathe and be present? Okay. So let's close our eyes for a moment. Call in your guides and your helpers. And just really allow yourself to relax and take some deep, slow breaths in and out. Okay, we could go on. I kind of want to, but do some more later when you get off this live stream. How does that feel? Do you feel more present? Do you feel more relaxed? Do you feel more of the real you? Let me know in the chat. So, breath is so powerful. And I have another tool for you. I'm not going to take the time to show you in this live stream. We're already at 27 minutes. Time flies. But I want to share a link with you. And that is communicatewithangels.com/cleansing. If you go to that webpage, it's a short video training on how to do a powerful technique that is incredibly simple yet powerful, that is going to raise your vibration, make you more sensitive to your psychic gifts, the messages of your guides, um, energy around you, etc. So it's called the spiritual cleansing technique. Some of you may already know it, but if you don't, I highly recommend checking it out. This is a technique that just takes a couple minutes to do and is going to make you feel so much better every single day. So with regard to the breath, Erin said, so much more relaxed and my brain is less fuzzy with crazy thoughts. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Okay. So breath often throughout your day, cleansing often throughout your day. And it's just when you actually do those things, you will notice how much more sensitive and psychic you are. Those of you that have been practicing the cleansing, let me know if that's true for you or if I'm lying through my teeth, please, because I know it works, but I'd love to hear from some of you others who've been using it. So as you start to notice more the hunches, the inspirations, the guidance, you want to also learn, thanks, Roselle. Yes, it's true. You also want to learn about discernment. Okay. So this is the piece that is often missing in spiritual teaching and is going to definitely be a part of my psychic gifts expansion course that I'm about to start next week. discernment. What does this mean? Okay. So, have you ever had an experience where you have a feeling like, oh, sometimes maybe this is just me, or maybe it's human nature, but sometimes I notice more when it's sort of a more negative feeling, so to speak, like, I feel kind of uneasy about this. I'm feeling a little like just uneasiness is the only word I can try to use to describe the feeling. Sometimes feelings are hard to put into words. Have you noticed that? So when I feel that, okay, it's time to discern. I'm picking something up, but I don't know exactly what it is yet. Okay, so when we're balanced in our energy, we go feel, think, act. So the first part we're describing here is that feel. Like, I feel something. I'm feeling something in the environment. I feel uneasy. I feel a little on edge, or I'm hesitating. Now, it could be a positive thing too. I'm just using this as an example, right? Because maybe it's more noticeable. And it's important to discern those things. When I feel something quote unquote negative, I don't want to just shove it down, go, oh, no, no, positive thinking, positive thinking. Those discernments are really helpful and powerful and can also help us to be in the right place at the right time. Okay, so this is not just being Pollyanna and being everything's great all the time. If there's something going on in the environment, I want to know about it, right? So imagine if you have someone at work that's sort of manipulative and you weren't realizing that. I know I've fallen into that trap before because I just sort of expect the best out of people and maybe don't realize that they don't always have good intentions. So, wouldn't you want to know that so you can navigate it instead of being hooked in by somebody else's manipulation? Now, I know there's a lot of beautiful people out there, and all of you, I know, have good intentions, but let's be honest, their energy is out there among people, right? So we want to just know the facts about what is it is that we're picking up. Okay. So when you feel something and you don't quite know what it is, you want to just take a little time to discern. And we're really working with the W, some questions. Okay. So this is what I wrote down in my notes for the questions. What am I sensing or feeling or picking up? Maybe it's just a feeling. Maybe it's a thought. Maybe it's a hunch about something. But what is it? Okay. When is the timing? Where is it? Who is it? And how does it relate to me? Now, you might not have the answers to these questions right away, but you want to start being in the question. When you ask a question, you're opening yourself up to the possibility of what answer can come in. If you immediately come to a conclusion, you are not open. And this is what our intellect wants to do, to block us. Oh, I'm feeling something uneasy. It must be that I'm a bad person. It must be that I suck. Now, is that really true? Probably not. I would say almost definitely not, because you do not suck. But like, we have these thoughts, right? So I want you to practice being open to discerning, even if the answers don't come right away. When the timing is right, the answer will be there. So let me give you an example because I'm speaking very sort of theoretically here. So a few days ago, I was speaking to my mother, who is also does some spiritual work and classes, etc. And she shared with me that she wanted to offer a particular course that it's a particular course that's really resonated with her. And I have been interested in taking it, but things just haven't worked out timing wise for me to do it yet. So she was saying, hey, Melissa, do you want to do this class? And do you think maybe some of your clients would be interested in it? Immediately when she asked me that question, my immediate hunch was yes. There was just such this clear yes feeling coming through. And I just know, right? Like that prophetic part. I just know that this is good and that the timing is now. Whereas every time she's brought it up to me a few times over the last year or two. And every time I just felt like, yeah, I want to do it, but it's not the right time. Now, is this an intellectual thing? No, it's discerning the energy of what I'm feeling and sensing. Yeah, timing is everything. And timing is something that we can discern energetically. And if you can't discern it energetically, then your angels can definitely help you with it. That's kind of my other program that you want to look into if you haven't. It's not the topic for today, but I do have an amazing course about how to communicate with your angels. If you go to my website, communicatewithangels.com. Um, but timing. So in this case, yes, it's the timing. So she said she's a New Zealander, so she's very casual and relaxed about things. So she said, "Great, yeah, let me know." And I had this hunch, and I said, "You know what? I just really feel like let's just take a look at the calendar and just see if we can schedule a date." So she said, "Great. Okay." So we pull up our calendars, and I'm looking at April. I said, "Oh, yeah, I've got this other webinar that week, so I'd rather not do everything in the same week. So what about the next week?" Well, she said, "I've got a class that week." And I said, "Oh, well, I've got another class the following weekend." We're just looking back and forth and it's just not jiving. And so then what I'm feeling is, mm, this just isn't coming together. We're not, there's not this aha moment thing happening. Let's just leave it. So I said, "You know what? I'm not really discerning it right now. Let's just kind of come back to the timing thing." So then a couple days later, she emailed me and she said, "Okay, so what's happened is, she works with her husband. She's going to do that same class for another group in April." And she told me the dates that she's doing it. And immediately when I saw that, I said, "We're going to do it in May. The class that I'm going to be involved in is going to be in May." So whereas when I was looking at the calendar, my intellect was thinking, I don't want to put it off too long. I don't want to like make my mother wait too long for this. I've already made her wait a year. I better just do it as quickly as possible. I better do it in April. For whatever reason, my intellect was saying it had to be in April. And so that's why everything was just feeling, why is this not coming together? Because my intellect was interfering. I didn't know I was doing that, but that's what was happening. My intellect was trying to prescribe something, and then I'm not relaxed and discerning the real timing that needed to happen. At one point, I actually kind of was about to say to her, maybe we should just put it out to May. I felt bad. I felt bad for putting her off like that. Oh, that's like 2 months away. So, can you see how my concepts and my little fears, my intellect, was just interfering a little bit with the discernment of what my intuition was telling me to do? And then when I got the facts of something else, then immediately, okay, I'm in alignment again. It feels beautiful to do it in May. It feels perfect, right? The other thing I was going to do in May is actually not happening anymore. So there's this space on the calendar now for this great event to be in May. It's perfect timing. And as I'm saying that to you, I'm describing the feeling I had around it. It felt in alignment. Okay. So I hope that wasn't too complicated a story, but I think it illustrates how discernment happens. What we want to be careful of is trying to figure it out with our head rather than allowing yourself space to discern the what, when, where, why, and who. That who question, I said, who is it? If you're feeling something, that question is really important because you might be picking something up from somebody else and thinking it's yours. So that's a really important part of discernment as well. Who am I feeling? Is this feeling mine? Is it even any of my business in the first place? Right? Um, so really honor what you're picking up and be aware of not allowing your intellect to talk you out of it. If things start to feel icky, okay, let's just put it aside and come back to it tomorrow. Allow yourself time to discern. What many of you do is you start really putting pressure on yourself. You start worrying, you start doubting, you start going, oh my God, I'm doing something wrong, right? You just need to keep allowing space and time for that discernment, and it will come together because you will be able to discern that by feeling. So this is what we're going to start developing in my Psychic Gifts Expansion course. You're going to develop those inner skills to discern what's right in your life by discerning how the energy feels. It takes a little bit of practice, and your intellect might freak out because it's used to being in control. But if you really want to get into alignment with your purpose, with your success, with your joy, you need to practice putting your nearly said intellect, intuition to the forefront, discerning how energies feel. Okay. Erin said, I'm guilty of trying to figure everything out in my head and needing to know how things will happen. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm blocking many opportunities by hanging on so tight to it. Yeah, great share, Erin. It's really a common one. But at least you have awareness that you're doing that, right? So think about what you could do differently and then start practicing that new habit. Yeah. Um, okay. So I'm going to start wrapping this up, but if any of you have any questions about developing your psychic ability or anything that I've shared so far, now's the time to ask because if there's no questions, then I will just hop off. But I'm happy to share a little bit more if any of you have questions, comments, experiences that you'd like to share, please do. I think the more that we share our psychic experiences, the more comfortable we get with them, the more skilled we become. I have a few close friends that are on this similar journey where we talk about that with each other, where we're like, okay, what am I discerning? What am I picking up? What does it mean? And it's beautiful to have other people in your life who can have that kind of a conversation with you. Some people don't. Some people want to jump to conclusions, and that can kind of put you in fear. They're not doing it intentionally. They're just not having this kind of a conversation, discerning intuitively, right? When I had this injury, I realized that I needed to cancel one of the events that I had planned. And my boyfriend tried to talk me out of that. He said, no, 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 you can still do it. You can still do it. And I could feel a really old tendency that I've grown out of to listen to somebody else over myself. And I took a couple of days and I said, you know what, I really need to set a boundary here. I said, my partner and I have often talked about how that part of our life we kept separate, right? He's not involved in my business. So why is he now giving me advice about what I should do in my business? So I just had that in a loving way, had that conversation that this is what I feel is right for me, right? And I followed through on that. And that's a big deal for me because in the past I've had a tendency to be a people pleaser, right? So it's very honoring of yourself, and you can say it in a loving way, in a respectful way, but you need to honor yourself and trust what you feel is true for you. Paula says, channeling, are we going to learn? So we're this course, we will be working with guides because it's all hand in hand. But this one is more focused on your own intuition, and we'll do a lot of experiences with that. So the word channeling to me can be a little bit misleading. I think we're always channeling spirit all the time. So yeah, just it's going to be a little bit different than that, but I think it'll still be very valuable because as you become more uh, sensitive to your own guidance, that's when you can pick up more information from your spirit as well. So it all kind of goes hand in hand. I hope that answers your question, Paula. I'm recovering from hand surgery and a broken ankle that happened right after my surgery. I am so sorry. This broken ankle has been, wow, I never realized how challenging it is. 3 more weeks of not being able to walk. I mean, not being able to put like on crutches. So, but that's a whole nother conversation of what I've learned spiritually from that I'm going to share in the future, not right now. But it's like, yes, we all have these human experiences, and sorry that you're going through that because I know it's really challenging. It's also given me more compassion for people that are having, what's the word, like chronic illnesses. At least I know, like, okay, 3 weeks, I'm going to be able to start practicing walking again. I've got that timeline, but people that don't, that's challenging. So, if this is piquing your interest, if you'd like to learn that discernment and eliminate that self doubt and trust more in your psychic ability, then I invite you to Psychic Gifts Expansion. Now, what I'm offering in the next few days, I'm just going to type in the link here, is if you sign up by Thursday, oh, better put this right. Keep typing it wrong. Sorry, guys. If you sign up by Thursday, you can bring a friend for half price. The value, what I'm doing right now is 5 live classes with a group on Zoom together. And this can be so powerful in sharing your spiritual experience with others. So we're going to meet together over 5 weeks. Each week we'll go a little bit deeper. Each week we'll focus on a different theme. We're going to go through each of the 4 gifts so that you can really trust your intuition in your life. And so enrollment closes on March 25th, but there's another special kind of bonus for anybody that signs up by this Thursday, March 21st. You're going to get a coupon code that you can use for a friend to sign up for half price. So you can invite, because I'd really love some newer people to be on this. Wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you're going to benefit from this program. But if you have somebody that you know would really benefit from it and you'd love to invite them for half price, that's going to be a little extra incentive where we'll really be able to share this with more people. So let me know if you have any questions about the program. It starts next Tuesday. So enrollment closes on Monday and we're diving into the classes on Tuesday. So don't delay. Get yourself ready. Get yourself signed up. And the other thing that's happening is once those 5 live classes are over, you're going to get access to a new online course that I'm creating. So that is going to be something that you'll have access to as long as you want to have it, right? The step-by-step program on how to develop your intuition. This has sort of been long overdue for me. I've been asked by clients so many times, like, oh, how do I develop my spiritual gifts more? So we have 4 spiritual gifts: intuition, which is clairaudience; vision, which is clairvoyance; prophecy, which is claircognizance; and feeling, which is clairsentience. So we have all 4, and you have them ordered in a certain way. And I work with a private session where you can learn your spiritual gift order, which one is strongest for you, which one is second strongest, etc. And I've just had that question over and over again from people when they learn their gifts. They say, oh, well, how can I develop it more? And I'll say, well, you need to practice and you need to get in a group to practice. But I was never providing them with the means to practice it. Sometimes I would do a workshop on it. But now you're going to have actually an online course that takes you step by step through the practices that you need. And there's a lot of tools in this course that I'm creating behind the scenes right now that are not available anywhere else. They're a really insightful yet simple approach to growing spiritually. VM, I've used my intuition regarding certain people and set boundaries, and it's like demons took them over. I was attacked viciously for setting boundaries. That can happen when people are not used to it. Yeah. If people don't set boundaries themselves, they will get very offended if you set a boundary against them. So know that that's more about them than it is about you. And just find those people that you can work with. I shared that experience with my boyfriend. I don't usually like to talk about him too much because, it's not my business to share some of those things. But I shared that with you all in a way that I know that he respects my boundaries, and that's why it's a person that I can really invest in, right? As well as friends and family who respect me, right? And anybody that doesn't, I just move them a little further out of my circle. For some people that's selfish, but I don't think it is. I think it's necessary. As you become more sensitive, you just don't need that stuff in your life. right? I'm not telling anybody to kick anybody out, but you may want to consider investing more in the people who can communicate and respect and love you and bound in your boundaries, and it's a little less in the ones that don't. So that's all I'll say about that. All right. So yeah, you're welcome, sweetie. So again, the link is in the comments. Communicatewithangels.com/psychic gifts expansion. I hope that you will join me. This course is for everybody that wants to open up spiritually. I've priced it at a really reasonable rate. There's also a payment plan that you can use to really get started in a way that's affordable, accessible, and I think you're going to really enjoy being a part of this beautiful spiritual community that we're creating together. I did not expect to be talking this long today, but it's been so fun. I hope that you have really gotten something out of it. And I'm going to sign off for today. Yeah, that says it all. Trust your intuition. Trust, trust, trust. Good point. Thank you all for being here. Much love to those of you that have been here live. Thank you. Thank you. If you're watching the replay, love to you as well. Let me know in the comments what you got out of it. What was your highlight? What did you learn? I hope to see you in our Psychic Gifts Expansion program. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Bye-bye.